music. Right here on 96 FM with me, Barry Upton. I have a very good friend of mine and a legend of the UK music business, maybe a little bit international as well, Mr. Tilly Rutherford. Nice to have you with us.
Sawadee ka, Barry. Sawadee ka. That's Thai to you.
Yeah, but don't say car because they'll think you're a lady boy.
Oh, sorry.
You've got to learn that. And you've been coming to Pattaya quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I sort of drifted in and out. You know, I've been a few times, and then I gave it a break for many years, and I've been travelling all around the Far East, you know, Cambodia, Laos, and places like that. And I thought I'd come back and see you guys.
For us who follow you on Facebook and that, you actually all over the place, aren't you?
Well, I think as you get older, it's nice to see all these other countries, isn't it, in the world? So I take my wife to a lot of places. We've just been in Lithuania and India, and so... yeah, while you can still walk, while you're still above ground, I think it's good to go to some of these places.
Now, people don't use the word legend unless it really means something in the music business. But you really, everybody knows you in the business, and the reason is you've been a colourful character for start off, but also you've been involved with so many big artists. Just tell us of a few.
Well, I think the reason legend, it's not really legend, but it's just that I'm still alive, still above ground, you know. You know, the rest of them have gone, sadly, yeah. Well, I've been in the business for, many years. I started out, as you probably know, in little bands, and I DJ'd, I had record shops, and I finally made a move to London in the early, 1970, I think, you know. Started working in record companies, and fortunately, you know, I've had an extension of a hobby, which is collecting records, and I've made a career and a living out of it. So I guess I've been very lucky. But
well, you've got a big passion for music, but, I mean, you've made some great signings, didn't you?
PWL. I mean, when I was at Magnet, I in 3 years I signed Darts, a doo-wop group in 1977. I signed a rockabilly band called Matchbox in 1978, and signed Bad Manners, a thumping reggae band in 1979.
Tell us the story about Bad Manners. Why did you sign Bad Manners?
Well, because I'd been looking at Madness, and I think a lot of people were looking at Madness and thinking that, you know, maybe this could happen, this ska boom, you know. And I went to see them, and I know there was a few people looking, and I was about to sort of try and get a deal going with them, and then the guys from Stiff came in, Dave Robinson and Jake Rivera, and I think they just gazumped everybody and took the band.
Yeah.
But I thought I still want to get one of these reggae bands, because my philosophy was that if you can do darts, doo-wop and make it successful like pop-wise, and then a year later rockabilly and make it pop-wise, maybe ska you could do the same with. So I went to the Rock Garden in Covent Garden, saw this absolutely crazy band called Bad Manners, and I thought...
With Buster Blood Vessel.
Yeah, Dougie Trendle. Oh my God, man. They just blew me away. But the musicianship in the band was phenomenal. You know, they got saxes, organs, and they were doing Louis Jordan numbers and everything, and they were maniacs.
Yeah.
And I said, we've got to have
and
these.
it was real ska, wasn't it?
Real ska and sort of, like... jumping blues as well, really. You know, Louis Jordan numbers they were doing, you know, Caledonia and things like that.
Yeah.
But the musicianship, and Dougie as a Buster, I mean, as a character, with that bloody great big tongue, he went, wow. And, unfortunately, they came in, I think it was the next day or the day after, and signed a deal with us. And
he was always brilliant on Top of the Pops, wasn't he? You know, he's a real colourful.
Yeah, well, Top of the Pops loved him because it was a character. A lot of those things, the one, and you probably saw Special Brew when he's in that great big melting pot. We post-recorded that, and he was, you know, climbing out of a pot, you know, boiling water, supposedly. But
then how did you come from that to become part of PWL?
Oh, that's a long time in the... Well, basically...
tell us in between then.
Well, the historics was...
Work your way up slowly.
Well, the historics were that Pete Waterman and I were friends, basically, in Coventry. I was a DJ, and he became a DJ and started working with me. And when we had record shops, Pete and I had the record shops together. And basically, we both went to London together to work in the business. So we were both at Magnet together, basically, yeah?
Right.
Pete and I were at Magnet Records together.
Yeah.
Pete was doing his own thing. He was producing.
People like Alvin Stardust.
Alvin was there, obviously. Guys and Dolls, Adrian Baker. Hey, we had a lot of success.
Yeah,
I mean, it was a very successful company, and
for a small label, it was one of the biggest.
It had 9% of the market one year, which is phenomenal. You know, in 1975, 76, something like that.
Yeah.
But it was just allowed the opportunity to sort of doo-wop I love, as you know, Barry, and to sign a band like Darts was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And to get Tommy Boyce, you know, the legendary Tommy Boyce, who worked with Phil Spector and all those people, wrote Under the Moon of Love, Three Little Angel Eyes, and wrote Be My Guest for Fats Domino, to get him and a guy called Richard Hartley. Well, I met Richard again 2 years ago in South Africa because he lives down there now. And he did, as you know, the Rocky Horror Show, Richard Hartley. So he's like classically trained. You know, he did Bolero for Torval and Dean. That's Richard Hartley. And bringing those two together, like a lunatic doo-wop man like Boyce, crazy, and Richard, a very sensible musician.
Yeah.
What an incredible partnership for producers. And I think that with that style of music, you've got to have great producers.
Well, you do, because they've got to make it commercial, haven't they? They've got to. In fact, actually, you've got to draw the non-doo-wop audience in.
Yeah, you have to have somebody, producers who saw it and had the commercial ear to take it from a little basic doo-wop. If you notice, the first Darts single is going from Daddy Cool into The Girl Can't Help It, a Little Richard song.
Right.
So it sort of works. You know, there's two. One's a rock and roll record, one's doo-wop, and it works.
Yeah.
And
because you must have been loving that then.
Loved it.
Yeah.
And I love Matchbox because I went to see Matchbox at the Royalty in Southgate, and I love rockabilly as well. And I went, wow, I love these. They were doing all this bloody, you know, rockabillys and that. And I went back to the office and I said to Michael Levy and Brian Reeves, I said, we've got to add this rockabilly band. They looked at me as though I was out to lunch, crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I bought a friend of mine called Peter Collins, who you probably know.
Yes, very famous.
A lot of people know him more nowadays because he produced Rush and bands, big American rock bands, and Brian Seltzer and people like that. But he hadn't been producing in those days. He was just a jingle writer, you know, and he worked a lot with Hans Zimmer and those guys, you know. Right. So I said to Pete, come and see this band. Pete went, I love this. He'd never done anything like it. And Peter Collins made incredible productions with Matchbox.
Yeah. And so your friendship and working relationship with Pete Waterman goes way back, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've known Pete since 1963.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
when I was in short trousers, by the way.
And I'd just love you to tell the story about Chuck Berry when you were DJs at Locarno.
Oh, yeah. Well, obviously, Pete and I were probably quite famous DJs in the Midlands, and we had the record shops and that. But we used to do a lot of gigs. Pete did the Locarno, basically, as a resident DJ, and I did a club called Mr. George's, a nightclub, because I was a bit more classy. And but we did the Lancaster College of Technology students' annual dance, I think, in 1970 or 71, and the headline act was Chuck Berry, and that is the night Chuck Berry actually recorded live My Ding-a-Ling.
Fantastic.
And probably Pete and I are on backing vocals somewhere on that. So,
you're in the audience somewhere.
Yeah, we might be. Well, we're backstage, really, so you probably don't hear us, you know. But yeah, that's a true story.
But that's amazing to
My
see.
Ding-a-Ling recorded in Coventry.
#1 record being recorded like that.
Yeah. And there was about 2,500 students there jumping up and down, you know.
Brilliant.
Incredible.
Brilliant. So, okay, Magnet, what happened then? How did PWL become?
Oh, I didn't go to PWL then. I went to Red Bus, and I went and ran Red Bus for 3 years with
Imagination?
Cohen. I had Imagination, Just the News, Music Lights, with Tony Swain and Steve Jolly.
Yeah.
Great producers. In the studio at the time, we had Spandau Ballet.
Right.
The original Wham was in there with Bob Carter.
Yeah.
We did Bananarama in there with Tony Swain and Steve Jolly. Robert De Niro's Waiting.
I think a lot of people have done Bananarama, but that's another story.
Yeah. And and of course, also in there, we did Culture Club. Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?
That's
with,
right.
with Steve Levine.
I've worked at Red Bus in those studios.
Yeah, in Salisbury Street.
They were fabulous studios, weren't they?
Well, I was there running, looking after Tony Swain and Steve Jolly and running the record company.
Yeah.
So, and also I had Kelly Marie Feels Like I'm in Love. You know?
I have to tell you, I had the great, amazing thing given to me to remix a Wilson Pickett master at Red Bus.
Wow.
And it was Seconds of Our Love with Jackie Moore.
Oh, you know, Jackie Moore, fantastic.
And I just remember working in that studio and just loving every minute of it.
Wonderful studio.
To be able to solo Wilson Pickett's vocal, you know.
Yeah.
And then play around it, you know.
Everybody loved working in Red Bus Studios, you know. And of course, you know, they were so successful, if you're trying to make your own records in there, you couldn't get in.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those, yeah.
And It Feels Like I'm in Love was another big one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Pete Yellowstone and Steve Voice, Red Bus, written by Ray Dorset, who was the house writer, basically, at Red Bus, and obviously recorded in the summertime, which is a Red Bus record, you know.
Yeah.